this? Look at it! Behold! You want to know how I made this? Stick around. Lasers are becoming increasingly accessible to the general audience. This isn't some sort of tool that you need like a giant workshop in order to own and operate. The learning curve, however, is still pretty steep if you want to get good results. xTool is paving the way for making it easier for the common consumer to be able to do DIY projects from lasers. Not only with the machines being a lot more accessible and affordable, but also the software that they create making it a little easier and taking all the guesswork out of your material settings. But now they're coming out with DIY kits. They were kind enough to send me this DIY clock kit so that I could put it together in a video and show you how easy it is. Because even though I'm a software engineer by trade, I actually don't know how to put a clock together. I'm what some might call mechanically disinclined. So just like any cool craft kit that takes you from raw materials to a finished product, xTool walks you through the process the whole way. And along the way, you get to learn a whole new set of skills. It helps take a lot of the pressure off of getting the laser and then wondering, how do I use this thing? Especially if you don't have the art background or a firm understanding of vector graphics. Or not even just vector graphics, just how to manipulate a single vector path in an application like Lightburn or xTool's XCS. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's get right into this project. Everything that I needed to make the clock basically came with the kit. The only exception, of course, being the AA batteries. So let's walk through those materials. So here are all of the base materials that come with the DIY kit for the clock. We have a laserable vinyl that has some adhesive on the back of it, and this is gold foil. I'm not actually going to use this part. I'm not a huge fan of like gold color, but I love the wood options they've provided. So before I get to the wood, I'll actually show you they gave a 12 by 12 inch sheet of white acrylic. This is 3 millimeters thickness, by the way. There's 2 sheets of black walnut, 1 sheet of plywood, 1 sheet of sapel, and some black cast acrylic. And of course I'd be silly if I didn't go over the fact that they gave me all of the parts to make the clock go brrr. And this is one of the things that I actually like about kits like this, because I wouldn't know what I needed to buy or even how to do it without something like a kit to walk me through the process. For this project, I'm going to be using my xTool S1 20-watt diode laser. I'll leave a card in the video and a link in the video's description if you want to learn more about this machine. Now typically you guys have seen me use my S1 for doing stuff like cutting fabric out. Those little intricate shapes and things I need to do specifically for like doll clothing or little accoutrements that I add to my bags. It's rare that I do anything with wood or acrylic, so I'm actually really looking forward to this. For brevity's sake, I'm just going to speed through the section where I cut everything out. It didn't take very long even with my engraving customization. But I don't think you want to watch a 20-minute section of just the machine cutting out material with loud fan noises in the background. For each layer, I cut out the pieces needed for the clock from a coordinating material provided in the kit. The only material I was concerned with was the acrylic, and it cut it beautifully. Now that everything's cut out, I can go through all the pieces and show you what it's going to look like before it's assembled. Here we have the base plate and all of the pieces that are going to go on top of said base plate. This hole right here is where the motor is going to go for the clock. And here we have all of the hour markers, which I ended up cutting out of black acrylic instead of the advised white acrylic. One of the first things that you'll notice is that there's score markings all over the place. That's to help with putting things in the right location so I don't accidentally glue things upside down or just like all over. Well, not so important for the base plate because everything kind of just comes together and makes the circle. It's really important, at least for me, to have these little scores because I don't know where to put the hour marks. It'll also help with lining things up a lot later. Now, apart from making the creative decision to use black acrylic instead of white acrylic for the hourly markings on the clock, I also decided to engrave "Time to Sew" on a clock I'm making for a laser product video. The thing about the engraving is it's really awesome, except even with the air assist turned off, I got a little bit of soot around the edges. That's actually really easy to get off of there. You can either dampen a cloth and wipe it down, or you can just sand it. I'm opting for sanding because the last thing I want to do is get some sort of plywood wet. There's a joke in there. Just forget it. Now, if you're new to acrylic and lasers in general, you might be wondering why the acrylic pieces happen to have this paper on either side. That's to protect it from getting scratched when transported or stored. You need to leave the paper on when you're cutting or engraving, but peel it off before you actually use it, as in before you glue it to something. One trick that I like to use but can't because I'm an idiot and left the duct tape in the garage is to grab Gorilla duct tape and just plop it down on a corner and then pull really hard. But instead, I'm gonna opt to ruin my fingernails. But that's okay because I'm a software engineer and I hate long nails anyway. Assembly is a breeze. All I had to do was basically put down some of the glue and then the individual wood pieces to make sure that everything was sticking where it was supposed to. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just talking like an idiot. I did opt to use my own super glue, which is just a Gorilla Gel super glue, just because I have a buttload of it. After you place the piece on top of the baseboard, you're going to need to hold it for about 15 seconds just to make sure that everything adheres. You just work your way down, putting the pieces in place one after the other. Thanks to the score lines, I had no questions as to where everything went. When moving on to putting the hourly markings onto the clock, I actually prefer to put a little bit of glue on top of something like a paper plate or a cut of the cardboard box that the kit came with. The reason I like to do this is because I don't want to have to worry about a lot of spill, and I just want to gently dip the little pieces in and then put them on top of their markings on the clock itself. I'm also using a set of tweezers to help me get these little pieces in place so I don't have to touch them with my fingers. And here's what I've got so far now that everything's glued on. Now here's a quick view of all of the pieces that come just for the motor for the clock. Of course, there's going to be the hands that you have. You have hours, seconds, and minutes. And then there's a little hanger here that's going to hold everything in place and give you the opportunity to actually hang your clock up. So this is the primary motor, and there's a cover for it. There's no battery. Again, that's pretty typical not to include batteries just for safety reasons. Then they have a like a rubber washer thing, a washer, and a cylindrical thingy thing. Ha ha ha, I'm so good at this. I'll be one of the first people to admit that I'm not terribly mechanically inclined, but this actually wasn't really all that difficult to do. Again, the instructions were really easy to follow, very much like IKEA furniture, without all the heartache and broken particle board. I got everything together, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stick a battery in here. And I'm gonna I wanna hold it up because I don't want to have those aluminum hands kind of bend. They are a little bit on the sensitive side, but I also want to support this so I don't snap it in half. There we go. Oh, it's already moving. It's already moving. Please stop. I'm still trying to close you up. Oh my God. No, wait. No, seriously. It's like I'm rushing against the clock here. Okay, crisis averted. I didn't snap it in half. So now I can basically just use the little winder on the back of the motor and get this set up to the right time, which would, how do I tell time again? There it is. Yay! It's time to sew. So there you have it. That is a DIY laser kit for creating a clock. Coming to you soon from xTool. Thanks for tuning in.